One guy who actually, in D.C., there was a $500 loan. He was still 5 years later engaged in the loan, and when we calculated what his payments had been, his payments was well over $8,000.
The American Postal Workers Union and many consumer advocates say the U.S. Postal Service should create its own bank with branches in every post office in every community. A postal bank could address a real need, millions of Americans who lack access to affordable financial services.
We had a proliferation of payday lending outlets, some of them even next door to each other. Because they were taking so much money out of the community, we began to tabulate what they were actually being charged. It was 500% interest, 1,000% interest, even as high as 3,000% interest. In other words, it was designed so that somebody could not get off of the treadmill.
68 million adults in this country don't have access to basic banking. They're stuck in what we call the legal loan sharking of payday loans, check cashing operations, pawn shops, who charge the kind of rates that even the Inspector General of the United States said would put the mafia to shame.
The traditional banking industry no longer works for about a quarter of the people in this country. 28% of all households, 68 million people, rely on non-bank financial services like check cashing or payday lending. And the cost of these services is extraordinary. Just under 10% of their annual income, or about the same amount that they spent on food. When more than a quarter of this country is spending about the same amount on basic financial services as they are spending on food, we have a market failure.
38% of the zip codes in this country have no bank. Guess what they do have? They all have post office. Another 21% of zip codes only have one bank. We're the most trusted government agency in the country. The OIG believes that providing some basic services, financial services, could potentially bring in $9 billion in new revenue to the Postal Service.
The Postal Service's Inspector General says it could institute some financial services right now. In fact, there was a postal savings system in the United States from 1911 to 1967.
It's not unusual to think of the post office as a place where basic consumer financial services are handled. It's true in Japan, it's true in Germany, other places throughout Europe. It's been done successfully. There's nothing extraordinary about this business model.
The APWU convention in Chicago brought together postal union representatives from several countries to share their experiences with postal banking.
Every time we had a possibility in the past, we always advocate to have a postal bank. So, and it changed, and starting at some point in 2007 and 2008, when we have this financial crisis happening everywhere in the world, and that the fact that the letter really starting to go down, we really try again to say, okay, we have to have new initiative at Canada Post, and we have to really develop the banking. And that's what's happening all over the world.
The main issue was that without banking in post office, post company cannot exist in the new age of technology.
Postal banks fill an important need in many nations, and they provide significant revenue to maintain postal services.
La experiencia en España demuestra que los postales saben hacer el servicio postal bancario igual o mejor que la banca privada.
Postal banking in Spain demonstrates that workers can do the job the same or even better than the banking sector.
Look at the map, the Brazilian map before the postal bank and after the postal bank. They have more access points, they have more post offices, they have more people for first time with a bank account. Lots of people in Brazil for first time they have a bank account.
This is just an opportunity for the post office to use its space and to use its employees more efficiently to bring needed services to more Americans.
If we can set up a legitimate financial network that really, in a sense, was moral, just, and had ethical values, it would be a real service to those who are finding themselves in temporary dire positions.